Sakura Ayane grew up as the sick, frail girl in a wheelchair, but perhaps due to her unique upbringing, has led her to become quite the unhinged person.
プロの時絶対ブラの服外してやった。
その顔やめなさい。
パンツ脱がないと本領発揮できないよ。将来の夢は印税生活。40歳の生ってすごいらしいよ。
You don't see a Yuri maniac, borderline stalker, wife anti-horror voice actor in Japan every day, do you? Ayane as a young kid was a great privileged kid. She was a top student, played tons of sports, she got along with everyone, and her life was the epitome of peaceful. Just until she was about 10 years old, when multiple disasters struck like lightning. See, there was a new transfer student in her class, and she wasn't very nice to say the least. This new transfer would constantly say negative things about stuff she didn't like, directly telling Ayane, I don't like this, I cannot accept what you like. To the Ayane who grew up problem-free, always showered in praise, this new exposure to direct insults dealt emotional damage, and the shock left her scared of society in the future, wondering if everyone was this cruel. And as a defense mechanism, she started avoiding going to school as much as she could. But worse than emotional damage was physical damage. As Ayane grew up, she found herself feeling physically weaker and weaker, yet no one seemed to believe her. Everyone around her simply called her lazy, thinking she was trying to slack off, not wanting to go to school. Even doctors would directly tell her, you're not really sick, are you? However, Ayane's condition would eventually grow worse and worse as she gradually lost strength in her legs and had to start living in a wheelchair. This was when she was officially diagnosed with an automatic nervous system disorder and orthostatic intolerance. These conditions weren't as well known back then, which probably explains why her peers and even doctors thought she was lying. But this did not help the emotional damage she felt by both having the condition and being falsely accused of lying about it. Contrary to her life as a young kid, her following years would be tough. She often couldn't and didn't even want to go to school, skipping many days of middle school. Instead, Ayane's life became chaotic, needing regular visits to different doctors and hospitals to keep track of her condition, even therapy, and hence attending a special needs school. Her relationship with her parents soured because of her mother possibly being a failure in the eyes of Asian society despite trying her best. And to a young child, this kind of sudden disability and all the traumatic events along the way were simply devastating. It really took a long time for Ayane to accept the fact that she was an outcast of society. But eventually, Ayane wanted to take matters into her own hands. Even in despair, she had the determination to want to achieve something different from conventional success and grow up to become someone she could be proud of. Ayane first started with communication skills. She rigorously listened to the radio for hours upon hours, taking notes on conversational skills, reading the room, the tempo of a conversation, just anything that was important in communicating and leaving a good impression on others. Next was her body. She was tired of being this frail, sick kid that had to be pitied, so she took it to herself to improve her body. While skipping school most of the time, she decided to join Gekikan Tohai Corporation, an entertainment agency for child actors. By training in many physically taxing fields under Tohai such as Japanese dancing, stretching, sword fighting, and of course, voice acting, she thought she could train her body to become physically stronger to defeat her illness. She did very seriously try out stage acting, but soon realized it wasn't really for her. That's when her coach recommended voice acting to her, saying that her voice really fits roles as it sounded great in a mic. Taking this advice to heart, Ayane would soon find herself auditioning for the Japan Narration Actor Institute's training school, effortlessly passing the audition first try at only 15 years old and successfully passing an agency audition in the same year, getting herself hired under the agency I'm Enterprise as a mere teenager. It seemed like her drive to stand out even as a sick, disabled kid was starting to pay off. However, just when things were starting to go well, there were many more daunting issues that Ayane would come to face. Ayane debuted as a teenager, with her first role being in a Keroro movie, followed quite quickly by a main character role in Yumekui Mary. By all accounts, for a 16-year-old in this industry, it was very successful. Some voice actors struggled to find a single main character role in their mid-20s. However, she was, well, 16. And 16-year-olds don't exactly act the same way as mature adults. Ayane was kind of a brat. She often refused many jobs on a whim, even those that were commonly done by voice actors, self-sabotaging her own career and getting scolded by her own manager. This wasn't the worst part though. In her own words, Ayane said, "I didn't even see my manager as human." She kind of assumed everything would work out without seeing all the cogs that let this industry function in the first place. She took everything she got for granted and showed appreciation to nobody. This bratty mindset would last for years, all the way until another major health issue would strike Ayane. In 2013, just an hour before the recording of the second episode of Vivid Red Operation, Ayane suddenly completely lost her voice, just out of the blue. Panicked, she rushed to the hospital and was diagnosed with vocal cord nodules, another condition that would interfere with her life and voice acting career for the coming years. It was terrible. She obviously couldn't make it to her scheduled recording, causing huge amounts of trouble with needing to reschedule with the sound engineers, director, and everything. Her manager must have went through hell for her. But even in the near future, her voice struggled every time she had to work. It was the danger of possibly having to give up on this career that made her realize how much she really loved it, but more importantly, how much her manager and everyone was doing for her behind the scenes. How their work let her just do her voice acting so smoothly. In hindsight, this incident really humbled her, and Ayane realized all the things they did for her to cover her ass. This is when she truly started to mature, see people as, well, people. I don't know if this is some kind of trauma response or health issue related to her automatic nervous system disorder or some other thing, but Ayane mentions having almost no memories of her, well, work as a voice actress between 2010, the year of her debut, and 2013, when she first developed the vocal cord nodules. It's like straight up amnesia, like 3 years of memories just gone. It's insane. But other than this, her health issues seem to have gotten better. At least she's clearly not in a wheelchair now, shows up at events and recordings just fine, and hasn't mentioned these health issues in quite a while. Obviously, we'll never know the full story, but I just hope her health issues don't grow any further. What did grow past 2013, however, was her career. Up until 2013, Ayane had gotten multiple main character roles, and while an impressive feat, these were mostly smaller seasonal anime that didn't spread her name as much. However, in fall 2013, she would get a good breakthrough in Natsume and Nonon Biori. The momentum only went up from there. Levi in Trinity 7, Losing Girl Who's At Least Alive in Your Lie in April, Kokoa in Gochumon wa Usagi desu ka, a bunch of Fate and Kantai Collection roles, Correction is Needed in Oregairu, Femboy in High School DxD, Haru in Nisekoi, Now in Charlotte, Ochako in Boku no Hero, Ran in Bang Dream with this insane singing, Psycho in Tokyo Ghoul, Hasuki in Boarding School Judy, Yotsuba in Gotobun, Hina in The Day I Became Mad at a Bad Ending, Gabi in AOT, Fiona in Spike's Family, Brain Rot, Aida in Danadan, Prince Eugen in Azure Lane, Iori in Kunny the Game, Yai Sakura in Honkai, Mommy Miko in Genshin, and way more. She won Best Supporting Actress in the 12th Seiyuu Awards in 2018, hosted many radios, performed in concert after concert. I mean, just Bang Dream alone is a money printing machine. She's a cracked artist, so she even has drawn promotions for some anime she's in, has the best-selling photo book of any voice actor ever for reasons, and has overall had a very successful career for the past decade. So for someone who grew up a sick child and has faced as many hardships as she did, you'd expect her to be quiet, reserved, or maybe refined from the life lessons she learned along the way. But no. Instead, let's have a look at the unhinged side of one of the most successful Japanese voice actors ever. First of all, she is a Yuri maniac. There are so many instances where Ayane on some random radio show, regardless of whatever topic they were supposed to be talking about, would just go on a long rant about Yuri and how amazing it is. Specifically about the publisher, Yuri Hime. Her reputation as a Yuri fan went so far that some publishers are even using her as like the clickbait, like recommended by Sakura Ayane on the cover. She throws out recommendations left and right and says, and I quote, "It's because there are only girls that I fantasize about that kind of thing." But her love for women doesn't just stay in fiction, oh no. Ayane, you see, is the biggest Hanakana fan in the world. She is literally often called borderline stalker by people. Even from the early days of her career, she would constantly shill the fact that Hanakana was her number one, completely flipping out when she got a birthday message from Hanakana. She literally acts like those otaku who obsess over their idol, except somehow the two seem to get roles in the same anime quite often, like Tokyo Ravens, Nisekoi, and Gotobun. In fact, in some Tokyo Ravens live show, Hanakana just happened to kindly compliment that Ayane had good-looking legs, and Ayane went crazy and started wearing exclusively outfits that showed as much leg as possible. They even both voiced two NPC female friends in Weathering With You, and in the movie, they write the name Hanazawa Ayane. Did they get married? Is she rigging the system? Oh, but speaking of marriage, when Hanakana got married, just like an idol fan, Ayane fell into full copium mode, directly sending a mail to Hanakana professing her deep love and saying, "The only hope I have left is the fact that she isn't wearing a ring on her ring finger in their world where I don't exist." More interesting quotes include, "Hana-chan's existence is proof that the world still has salvation. I want to become your ring. If Hanakana were to kick my corpse, I'm sure her fate would be soft. Flowers would start rapidly blooming from wherever her feet touch." The fuck? I can see where the stalker vibes come from. I know some people have actually speculated whether she is bi or lesbian, and to be fair, she did say in an interview that she didn't want people to be conscious of the fact that she's a woman, and that she wanted to be a boy because they looked like they were having more fun. On the other hand, she has also commented on male actors she liked, was very surprised when a close friend of hers came out to her as lesbian, and once said in the past that she wants a boyfriend. Nothing is actually officially confirmed, so whatever you think she is, I'll let you decide.
じゃなくて、そう、なんか、で、なんか、ちょっとはっきりさせたくて、言ったら、両方好きだよって言ってて、あやでもそうでしょって言われて、違うわみたいな。
Oh, you thought it ends there? No, don't worry, we have a bunch more to unhinge. This girl is crazy. So, doing radios is pretty normal for voice actors. They usually act very professionally on radios. But this girl? Well... In the early days on her radio with Yahagi Sayuri, they would just have no filter, directly asking guests when they lost their virginity and screaming, searching lewd stuff together, getting shit-faced drunk live on stream, and as a result, getting herself banned from ever consuming alcohol on the stream ever again. Yeah, this was not your average radio. Later, Ayane grew to become very close to Hanae Natsuki, the voice of Tanjiro and his wife, and does a little trolling.
でも私の方が奥さんのこと好きだよ。
やめてくれ。
私奥さんから LINE で大好きって私に言われて。
俺それ知らないんだけど。何そのやりとり。
マウント取っちゃった旦那に。
Sakura NTR.
Ayane NTR. She also says she wants to marry his baby kids so she can call him Papa.
パパって呼ぶから。
And then we have the Inorin Minase incident. They're good friends, so when Inorin released a CD of hers, Ayane sent a picture of her licking the CD. What? Apparently this isn't even the first time. Ayane sent pictures of her licking stuff to Inorin all the time. Like, she's just used to it. Maybe if I try this, I can get a girlfriend. But as much of a clown as she is as an entertainer, the real Ayane is actually known to be one of the most mature and empathetic voice actors in the industry. Perhaps it's because of everything she faced as a kid. Perhaps it's because of her being humbled out of being a brat. But she is known in the industry as one of the best mentors ever. In fact, she's such a good consoler that managers of her company often tell her juniors, if you're facing any difficulty, maybe just have a talk with Ayane. Many young voice actors apparently go to her to talk about some very deep problems, and she'll just patiently listen to them as their caring senior, giving advice and all. I mean, she raged live in a Gotobun event because she found out some staff was a bit rude to her goddess Hanakana. She has a backbone. You know she's got your back. Known as an unhinged clown, known as an empathetic human, known as a voice actress, voicing characters in some of our favorite shows. This is what her colleagues have to say about her. Special thanks to Vicent Pagani and all my other members for supporting the channel.